Halo is the gaming franchise that revolutionized first-person shooters and sci-fi storytelling in gaming. Released on Xbox in 2001, the franchise grew a loyal fanbase through its deep lore, groundbreaking multiplayer, and cinematic storytelling. Now let's dive into the history of Halo. The 1990s. Shooting games on consoles in the early 90s were fun yet still limited by technology. On the Sega Genesis, players enjoyed titles like Zero Tolerance and Duke Nukem 3D, while the Super Nintendo offered games such as True Lies and Star Fox. And the arrival of the Sony PlayStation later on in the decade brought 3D graphics to the forefront of most of their games, pushing gaming into a new era. In 1991, Bungie Incorporated was founded in Chicago, Illinois, by Alex Seropian, originally a small independent studio focused on Macintosh systems. Bungie gained a growing fan base for its creativity throughout the 1990s. The company released several notable titles, including Minotaur: The Labyrinth of Crete in 1992, Marathon in 1994, and Myth: The Fallen Lords in 1997. These games helped Bungie develop its reputation for strong storytelling. By 1999, Bungie announced its next major project, Halo Combat Evolved, at the Macworld Expo. Initially, the game was envisioned as a third-person shooter for Macintosh, but that would soon change forever. The 2000s. In the early 2000s, some of the first-person shooters on console back then were Medal of Honor Underground for PlayStation 1, Perfect Dark on Nintendo 64, and Metroid Prime on GameCube. In May 2000, Bungie unveiled the first Halo Combat Evolved trailer at the E3 convention in Los Angeles, California. The presentation was met with overwhelming enthusiasm. Just 1 month later, on June 19th, Microsoft announced that it had acquired Bungie, making the studio part of the Microsoft gaming division. As part of the deal, Halo would now become an exclusive first-person shooter for Microsoft's upcoming console, the Xbox. It would also serve as one of the console's flagship launch titles. On November 15th, 2001, the Xbox and Halo Combat Evolved launched together. And first of all, the second you turn on the game, you hear angelic singing that inspires the hell out of you, which is a really good start to the game. The game begins aboard the spaceship Pillar of Autumn, where Captain Jacob Keyes and the ship's AI, Cortana, discuss their retreat from the Covenant, a religious alliance of an alien species determined to destroy humanity. Players then take control of Master Chief, a cybernetically enhanced super soldier awakened from cryosleep, to defend the ship and its crew. The ship becomes overwhelmed, and Master Chief and some of the crew take an escape pod and land on a mysterious ring-shaped world. The gameplay was revolutionary for its time. Its open environments, advanced enemy AI, and seamless vehicle combat created an experience that felt both cinematic and intense. By April 2002, Halo had sold over 1 million units, making it one of the fastest selling console games ever. And I remember playing it for the first time at my cousin's house in Atlanta, completely amazed by the graphics and the fun split-screen multiplayer. Even though he was completely destroying me in the multiplayer, running me over with vehicles, and shotgunning me into the ground, I still had fun. Because of the success of Halo, Bungie began developing the sequel in 2002. The studio still had a lot of saved content that wasn't used in the first game. On November 9th, 2004, Halo 2 was released for the Xbox. The sequel expanded both the gameplay and the universe. The game opened in the Covenant's capital city, where Commander Thel 'Vadamee, later known as the Arbiter, is put on trial for his failure to protect the Halo ring. In this game, players control Master Chief and the Arbiter in different missions, and follow their storylines throughout the game. This new storyline added more depth to the Halo world. Also, the multiplayer was playable on Xbox Live, which allowed for users to play the game online. Now Halo players were no longer limited to playing multiplayer on the same screen. They could play against anyone that had Xbox Live. And I also remember playing this game at a friend's house back in the day. And of course he was shotgunning me like there was no tomorrow. I could barely shoot him, but the game was still fun. Within its first month, Halo 2 sold over 5 million copies, becoming one of the most successful video game launches of all time. Shortly after the release, Bungie began working on the third installment. On September 25th, 2007, Bungie released Halo 3 for the Xbox 360, the final chapter in the original trilogy. The anticipation for the game was enormous, supported by one of the largest marketing campaigns in gaming history. The midnight launches around the country were filled with excitement. Bill Gates himself showed up to one of the launches, and rapper Ludacris was also getting in on that action. I guess you could say it was one of the biggest rollouts ever. Sorry, I had to do it. Anyways, Halo 3 continued the story of Master Chief and the Arbiter as they fought to stop the Covenant and the parasitic flood from destroying humanity. And let me tell you, playing the game felt like you were in a sci-fi movie. The graphics were peak at that time, and the sound effects and music made you fully immersed in the game. The game fulfilled the trilogy's promise to finish the fight, and its gameplay perfected Bungie's formula. Halo 3's multiplayer mode was the greatest online shooter experience of all time, and I stand by that. The gameplay, the pacing of the game, the guns, the vehicles, all made the playing experience well above anything offered at that time. Also, playing online is what turned boys into men, and men into boys. Players would verbally abuse anyone in the lobby, which added the element of revenge in the game. Because now, you not only wanted to win the game, but utterly destroy the person that was talking the most trash. And when the match was over, people would yell, "Party up!" so they could play each other again, and again, over and over again, talking trash all night.
Retard.
You sound like
You're
one sick
stupid.
retard.
It's ARs.
Don't even talk, man. Don't
Who
even talk.
keeps AR?
Do not even talk.
And this will become part of your routine. You would go to work or school, get home, boot up the 360, play Halo 3, go straight to multiplayer, find a lobby, talk trash, and verbally destroy someone.
You're not good. You have a 55 star, yet you
That's
still
why I
run
play
Dino.
with you.
You're a
Lose the match, pretend like the mic doesn't work, and do it all over again. And this was your life for a period of time. And for those of us that really wanted to continue the toxicity, you sent them a voice message talking about their mom. And they call you a racial slur.
Fucking I own you, little bitch.
And this was your life for some time, until you finally had to move on and into adult world. Yet you still remember all the trash talking, and it's saved in your brain.
Right, I'll tell you what, you fat little c***. You're boring. You don't sound Nigerian at all. So go and yourself.
Oh wow, I got carried away, and I apologize. Now back to the video. The game also introduced Forge mode, which allowed players to create and share their own custom maps. And Halo 3 broke records by earning over $107 million in its first 24 hours, and $300 million in its first week, becoming the best-selling game of 2007 in the United States. Bungie would later announce in 2007 that they were splitting from Microsoft. However, they would work on a few more Halo games before completely leaving the series, and Microsoft would establish 343 Industries to take over the development of the Halo series. On September 29, 2009, Bungie released Halo 3 ODST, a spin-off that told a more grounded story about a group of orbital drop shock troopers, or ODSTs, stranded in the city of New Mombasa. Players assumed the role of ODSTs instead of Master Chief during and after the events of Halo 2. In the game's campaign mode, players explored the ruined city to discover what happened to their teammates in the midst of an alien invasion. The 2010s. The following year, Bungie released Halo Reach on September 14th, 2010, their final Halo title before parting ways with Microsoft. This game is set before the events of Halo Combat Evolved, and the game chronicled the fall of the planet Reach and the tragic fate of Noble Team. The game opens with a couple of helicopters and vehicles traveling towards an outpost. Noble 6 meets the rest of Team Noble shortly before they are dispatched to investigate why a communications relay has gone offline. They discover Covenant forces have invaded Reach. Players then assume the role of Noble 6, a Spartan soldier. The game was a cinematic prequel with great storytelling that served as a powerful farewell to the series. The game also added new armor abilities like active camouflage, sprinting, a drop shield, hologram, and even a jetpack, which made the multiplayer gameplay fundamentally different from previous games. Now, instead of strafing behind walls and objects to get away from your opponents, you could just use your jetpack and fly the hell away from them. Within the first day, the game sold over 200 million in global sales, beating out Halo 3's first 24-hour launch. After Bungie's departure, 343 Industries began to carry the franchise. And in 2011, at the E3 convention, another Halo trailer was released, showing Master Chief trying to escape a burning ship. And after much anticipation, Halo 4 was released in 2012 on the Xbox 360. The game takes place 4 years after the events of Halo 3. The game begins with a woman named Dr. Halsey being interrogated about the Spartan Soldier program she developed. This opening gives players more background into the program that created Master Chief. Later on, Master Chief is awoken by Cortana, or as I like to call her, Schnaktana, who's looking like an AI snack.
Seems like old times.
Ready to get back to work?
I thought you'd never ask.
Anyways, and he must shoot his way through some Covenant enemies, and this begins his journey. This new game introduces players to a new enemy called the Forerunners. Also, a few new weapons were introduced, like Scattershot, the Incineration Cannon, and the Railgun, which lets you charge up your shot and one-hit enemies. The game sold over 220 million in global sales in the first 24 hours, beating Halo Reach's sales record. Shortly after the release of Halo 4, 343 began working on Halo 5, and in 2013, a teaser trailer was released for the game at the E3 convention. Then, 2 years later, on October 27th, 2015, Halo 5 Guardians was released for the Xbox One. The story takes place a year after the events of Halo 4. The game opens with Fireteam Osiris meeting and being briefed on recovering Dr. Halsey, who is held in custody by the Covenant. The team is deployed to the planet Kamchatka to retrieve Halsey. And this epic opening of the Spartans destroying the Covenant aliens is a complete masterpiece. It's something like out of a sci-fi movie. This game expanded the universe with new Spartans and a split narrative between Master Chief and Spartan Locke, who is trying to find Master Chief. And his character is modeled after the actor Mike Coulter, who played Luke Cage. The game introduced Spartan abilities, which players can now use the thruster pack at all times, vault ledges, rapidly dash for cover, or charge at an enemy. The game offered a multiplayer mode with faster pacing and the continuous ability to sprint, which the developers were hoping would attract newer players to the game. However, a lot of loyal fans of the series didn't like the fact that the game felt more like a Call of Duty rather than a Halo game. However, the game sold over $400 million in global sales within the first week. The 2020s. In December 2021, 343 Industries released Halo Infinite, and the game starts out with a battle in space. We then see Master Chief shooting through a few aliens. He then starts throwing hands with the brute that actually gets the better of him. This time the game is set on the massive Zeta Halo ring, an open world structure that allows players to explore and freely select various missions and objectives on the map. The story followed Master Chief as he faced the Banished, a brutal faction of former Covenant warriors. This game aimed to bring Halo back to its roots, while embracing modern gameplay. The game also introduced the grapple shot, which allows players to grapple onto buildings and objects and swing around like they're Batman. The free-to-play multiplayer mode introduced the classic arena combat that fans loved, trying to blend nostalgia with updated mechanics. However, this game introduced the Battle Pass, which everyone is tired of seeing in shooter games. Also, initially, when the game launched, there was no ranking system like in earlier games, and 343 added it on later. Although Halo Infinite faced some early criticism over its limited content, 343 Industries continued to expand and improve the experience, in trying to keep the community engaged. However, as time continues to go on, we'll see how that plays out. In October of 2025, there was a trailer released for Halo Campaign Evolved on the Halo YouTube channel, with enhanced graphics and smarter AI. Another interesting addition is the game will be playable on Xbox and PlayStation 5, which means it will no longer be exclusive to the Xbox library of games. And man, how times have changed. Supposedly the game will be released in 2026, but we'll have to wait and see. More than 2 decades after its debut, Halo remains one of the most influential video games of all time, especially in the first-person shooter genre, and in the Xbox's franchise history. It helped define Microsoft's Xbox brand, which was an entirely new console at the time it came out. Halo also shaped the evolution of first-person shooters and redefined multiplayer gaming on consoles. Overall, I'd say it's a great gaming series that solidified itself in gaming history. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for more content. This concludes another episode of The Voice of Rhino.